Hi, this is Guy Wallace. I started in learning and development way back in 1979, and I semi-retired in 2023. But my current mission as a semi-retired L&D professional is to help enterprise learning and development organizations become more performance-based. Welcome to my podcast. This episode is about giving credit where credit is due. I once asked Gary Rumler, who was one of my first key mentors and somebody I got to work with side by side at Motorola, where he was my consultant, which meant that I got to carry his pencils around as we went from client site to client site back in 1981 and 82. But I'd asked him about how he felt about others using his materials, his methods, his language to advance their own methods and models, etc. And he said he didn't mind it at all as long as he was given proper accreditation for it. I see many people online posting, and in the past at conferences presenting, many ideas, concepts, models, methods, tools, and techniques sans credit, without credit, for any source for their inspiration or the prior sources for their adaptation of ideas, concepts, models, methods, tools, and techniques. That's not as bad as outright theft and claims of ownership. It's more of a crime of omission, in my opinion. A few years back, an L&D practitioner reposted a graphic of mine, but had cut off the bottom with my name and business URL. That was outright theft, quite deliberate. I had seen it on LinkedIn and had commented, "Nice graphic." It was down the next day, but it was never acknowledged publicly or privately as to what had happened. Whenever I see this person, who has now made quite a name for himself over the years, I cringe. I know what evil lurked, or perhaps continues to lurk, in their heart, despite their online reputation. That was still not as bad as former colleagues who just over 20 years ago went into business together and claimed on their website that their methods were their proprietary methods, which I knew from their description were in fact mine, something that I owned the copyright to after my first consulting business ended due to my divorce from one of my two business partners. They had claimed on their website that those were their proprietary methods. In fact, I had taught them my methods, one of them as my employee and another as a subcontractor to one of my major clients, where I had taught over 100 people my proprietary methods under contract. I asked them over 20 years ago to stop making that claim, and I got no response. Then 15 years ago, I asked them to stop again and to quit using my database tool, and I got a letter from their lawyers threatening me. My lawyers then advised me that I could spend $250,000 to $1,000,000, and there was no guarantee that I would win. What the? WTF! Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. Really. So as I continue in my semi-retirement, paying attention to others in the field and try to contribute to the development of others in developing their performance-based approaches to instruction, training, learning, I just don't see much accreditation of others very often, if at all. For the most part, I see none. It's as if they were creating things whole cloth from the emptiness of space, which is quite amazing when you think about it. Now, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, Isaac Newton once said, and who should have probably credited Bernard of Chartres. I think it's important to share our sources so that others coming up the learning and performance curves, which are sometimes one and the same, or should be, they can go back to the original sources that we used to help themselves decide what to adapt, what to adopt, and what to reject from me, you, and everybody. I have not and cannot always credit all of my sources for my inspiration and my adaptations in each and every communication, article, video, or podcast. But I have consistently credited my first 3 resources that have influenced me, my first 4 human sources who were mentors to me, both directly and indirectly, and then my first 15 mentors, extending the first 4 and adding an additional 11. And then there are the 49 people who have served as my direct or indirect mentors that I addressed in a blog series that I started back in 2012. In 2008, I started a series of video podcasts about HPT practitioners, human performance technology, the means to the ends of HPI, human performance improvement. I've done 174 of those videos, hoping to share these people so that others might follow up and learn more from them, just as I have. See the show notes for links to blog posts about these, thank yous, and credits for my inspiration that have been absolutely critical to my success in my career. This begs the question, who has been a source for your inspiration, for your models and methods? I hope to see them soon online and at conferences. Thank you.